What you choose and I'll answer.
Okay, so let's start with.
Are you?
Yeah, I started it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, sorry, 3, 2, 1, action. Let's start with tell me about going to Egypt.
When I was teaching for CES, Church Educational System, they provided us trips. So one of the trips was to Egypt and to Israel. And so we went to Egypt, and I remember on the flight there, Stan Johnson read to me some child's book by Mercer Mayer. And so then in Egypt we went to the Great Pyramids of Giza, and the stones are huge. You look at it and you think but I don't know how big they are, and I don't know how they ever built that thing. But you can hike all the way up to the top. You can also, they have a little entryway to go into the middle of the pyramid. The pyramid was where they buried the pharaoh, and his tomb, well, a rock coffin basically, was in there, and of course he was gone. And Stan Johnson and I, silly as we were, thought it'd be good to take a picture. So Stan was lying in the coffin, and I got up on top.
He got in the coffin?
Yeah, it's just a stone box, and I stood straddling it to take, but the guard got very mad at us. So
I'm shocked.
yeah, he didn't like doing that. So we saw the pyramids.
So was this just you guys as teachers, or did family
Yeah,
go on one of them?
It was church education system faculty. There were mostly seminary and some institute, and whoever wanted to, they paid for that. And then if you wanted to bring your spouse, you paid the for the spouse. So Debbie came, so she was there.
That's awesome.
And I was impressed with the Nile River. It's so big, and I was impressed with how clean it was. Egypt. I remember seeing a guy with a big, long reed sweeping a dirt street to keep it clean.
Interesting.
So, and
tell me the story about being in line and telling people where you're from.
was that Egypt?
Was it not?
No, I think it was Israel. Well, they were in the same trip.
Okay.
There's a place called Gihon Springs, and there's a spring that was outside the walls of Jerusalem, and they were always getting attacked, so they decided to dig a tunnel from the springs into the city so they'd have a water supply. So they said, just bring an old pair of jeans and wade through. You'd wade about waist deep, and then when you get on the other side, put on your other pair of jeans and just leave them there, and somebody will want them. You know, people would want some clothing. So we were waiting to go through the Gihon Springs, the tunnel to the Gihon Springs, and I usually just sit and don't say anything, and I thought, well, I'm in Israel, I ought to do something. So I said to the people next to us, where are you from? And I don't even remember. But I think they were local. I think they were Jewish people there living in Israel. And so they said, where are you from? And I thought, they won't know Orem. So I said, we're from Salt Lake City, Utah. And they said, is that by Orem? And I said, what? You know Orem? And they said, yeah, Donnie and Marie, Orem, Utah. So they knew Donnie and Marie. That was back when they had a weekly
Yeah, the
show.
Donnie and Marie show, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tell them you were American? And they were like, psh, figures. Obviously,
Yeah.
we're not dumb. We figure,
Yeah.
we know you're American.
That's true. I said, we're from America, and they gave me the look like, seriously,
Like,
we can tell.
no joke. So in Israel, is that where you, Mom saying
Is that
at
what?
the Mount of Olives? And
Mount of Olives is in Jerusalem.
okay.
The whole place is very small. You hear about it, so you think it's big. But
Oh, it's small?
yeah, the Mount of Olives. We hiked the Mount. We hiked the Mount of Olives, which took about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's just a switchback that goes from the bottom of the valley, which that's where Gethsemane is, and then you walk the switchbacks, and you're on the top of the Mount of Olives. And while we were there, Mom sang "Oh Jerusalem," because the top of the Mount of Olives overlooks Jerusalem, and I don't know if it's just me or happens to other people, but the entire time I was there, I kept thinking, I'm here. I'm really in Jerusalem. I mean, this is where Jesus walked, but it never seemed real. It was just a place, kind of hot and dry, and I went to Gethsemane, and I thought, this is where the most important thing that ever happened. I went in the chapel. They have most of the chapels are Catholic, just to be alone and tried to make it real. And sad to say, I have to admit, it just didn't seem real. I just kept telling myself this is where it was. And it's so long ago, the olive trees that are growing there now are new trees. And there's just some old roots. And they tell you that the roots of those trees could have been there when Jesus was there,
Right.
a couple thousand years ago.
Yeah. Did you have that same feeling at Adamondiaman?
Almost all of those important sites, and then you have expectations. You drive and drive, and you get to Adamondiaman, and it's just this huge field, basically. And okay, this is it. And it just doesn't register as real, even though you're telling yourself it is. And after you come back, you say, yeah, I was there, but it just didn't feel real. There are other things that actually feel like what they are, but that was just kind of unreal.
Yeah. Do you feel like that, like with church history tours, like when we went to Nauvoo and stuff, that those were more real, or like their actual homes and stuff?
Well, it depended. I remember being at the John Johnson home, and there's a bedroom in the front of they tell us that's the place where they pulled Joseph out of bed and then took him and tarred and feathered him. And I'm saying to myself, this is really it. And that one didn't seem real. Kirtland Temple, it's the same kind of thing. It seemed real. I mean, that was a Kirtland Temple. But to say, I'm here in the Kirtland Temple, and that pulpit right there is where Jesus appeared, that didn't seem real. You know?
It's cool how many cool places you've been. Where's like your favorite place that you've been, or one of your favorites? So you've gone to, I'm trying to think, you've gone to Europe several times. You did Egypt, Israel. Did you ever do Australia? No Australia, but you did Germany a couple times. You did like Irish something.
No, we didn't go to Ireland.
Did you do like a cruise that was through there? The
We've
River
done
Rhine
a few
cruise or something?
cruises, and I guess a cruise ship, the ship stays in the water, and you take a little boat and go and see things. And Mom would be better at remembering where we went.
Yeah.
That's usually why I get little things or a little shot glass to tell where you've been. And so I've got, let's see, this little thing is from Prague. It's St. Vitus Cathedral. This is the Charles Bridge.
Where's that?
That's also in Prague.
Was that when you went to go see Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy was with us on that one. This
You want me to grab your glass? I can read it for you.
Yeah. Are my glasses right there? Thanks. This is from the island of Cyprus.
Where's that?
It's...
Sorry, I'm married to a geography teacher, but I don't know much geography.
I don't know. It's over there in the Mediterranean somewhere.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
I think. This is Greece, Mykonos. This is another little one.
They are printed pretty tiny. Can I see?
Rottenburg. Well, it's in German. Rottenburg on the... something, that's probably the name of the river.
Yeah, that is definitely in German, though.
And here's Heidelberg.
It said, Kein Spitzulg. This is not a toy.
Oh. And it cost me $3.75. I don't know if that was euros or dollars. This one's Heidelberg, so that one's Germany.
You guys went to Germany, what, 2 or 3 times?
At least 2. One was a surprise. We just showed up and surprised Heather, and then we just hung out till Jeremy got home. This was Deutschland. That's Germany also. This, and I tried to buy some little thing from wherever we went.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so this is a little thing from a place we went, but
Fair enough.
that
looks kind of like Newport Beach or something.
No, I think that's over. Well,
Has a baseball in it, it looks like.
no, it's not a baseball. That's
What is it?
That's a seashell.
Oh, gotcha.
Those are both shells. Now that's across the pond somewhere. And this is from the Nauvoo Temple.
Oh, that's
where
neat.
we went there. You're kind of aware of this, but it's hard back 10, 20 years ago for me to go anywhere because of the number of students I had at BYU from all over the place,
Yeah.
to not be recognized. So almost everywhere we went, and one of these I was thinking, some students, I think it was in Nauvoo, some students just drove by and went, "Hey, Brother Parker," because I had, if you have 1,000 students per semester over the years,
And sometimes it was more than that.
You just usually, well, sometimes up to 1,200. You usually run across people from just about everywhere.
Well, we always joke we can't take you anywhere.
Well, that's getting less and less true because,
No, we just got to find better places to go.
well, no, at the height of when I was teaching actively, that's when I would run into most students. And
Right.
now, if I run into them, they're old people. I don't run into current students anymore.
That makes a little more sense. Well,
Because I don't even, when did I retire?
2017. Hey, did you need something?
2017.
Yes.
What's up, bud?
I want somebody to watch me play.
Okay, in a few minutes I will. Okay, 10 minutes, okay? Well, we went to the zoo. I was telling you this when we were there just barely, but the time before that, we were kind of, you get like locked in kind of with the same group of people going, you know.
Walking around.
And finally, once you walked away for a minute, they went, "I'm sorry, we've just got to ask, is that Brother Parker?" And we went,
Oh, really?
"Yeah, that's our dad." And he gave this devotional, and he was like, it was maybe 2015 or something like. And they like quoted it verbatim, and they were like, "True attitude, true doctrine understood changes attitudes and behaviors." And yeah, exactly, that whole thing. And they were like, "He changed our lives," and it was fun. So
Really?
even still, 2017, you maybe have retired, but that was only 2 years ago that happened at the zoo.
Yeah.
So
Well, those are fewer and farther between as time goes on.
yeah,
So I have a confession.
yeah,
Can you see those 2 binders in the back?
yeah.
Somebody, was it you? got the students to write down things.
Have you ever looked through those?
I've looked through, but I haven't read
All of it?
one by one by one. I tried that, and after an hour or two, I thought, this is going to take half a lifetime. So I just thumbed through, and to
it
be honest,
also
most names I don't recognize.
Well, yeah. Well, and we gave it to you, so you retired, like December of 2017 was your last, like, month. And we gave it to you that Christmas.
Oh, okay.
And so you had just retired and you were going on a cruise in January and we gave it to you at Christmas. So it's not like you had a lot of time to soak it in either. So.
Well,
So where's that Christus from? The one by the binders.
I honestly don't know. Probably the
just a nice
bookstore
one.
in
Yeah.
Orem.
What
or
about
it
the things next
could have
to
been
it?
Nauvoo. I guess a Zook little girl. Jump down. I guess it might say on it, but I don't remember.
I was wondering if it was like a special one or anything.
Thank you, Bro Parker. Butterfield Ward. Barbara Gorman and the Butterfield Ward. So I guess I did a youth conference somewhere at the Butterfield Ward, wherever that is. See, I have a few other things given to me that I was given because I did a youth. So I guess that
when
was...
you did a youth conference, like you went and spoke, or you ran it, or like EFY,
no, I was
or
the invited speaker.
Gotcha.
And
Because I know
they
you did that
paid
for our youth
travel,
conferences
and then
a couple
I usually
times.
stayed just with a member.
Yeah.
You know, because that made it a lot less expensive. Yeah. So they just paid for my flight. And in the business world, you invite somebody to speak, you pay for their travel, and then you pay them to speak. And I guess they were aware of that. And so they realized that I was speaking generally for free. And so they gave me things like that, or some kind of perk or whatever.
Yeah. And that was different from Know Your Religion.
Yeah, Know Your Religion was a church, well, it wasn't church so much as BYU program, run out of Milt Sharp. You knew Helen Sharp. Helen Sharp was the secretary at Orem High Seminary. Sister Sharp. I thought she was there when you were there. Anyway, that was Helen Sharp, and her husband Milt. There were different guys, but Milt had the Northwest, like Oregon and Washington and part of Canada, and so
she may have been the secretary, and I just don't remember.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. They would in like January send you a list of places that you were invited to speak. Sometimes they just needed a speaker for there, and sometimes the priesthood leaders from there would say, can we have this person? So he'd send us a list. I say us, me and Debbie. We'd look through the list, and then we would pick where we would go. And usually our thing was, we didn't want the kids to grow up with, Dad's just always gone off speaking somewhere. We would pick a place that had something to see, like SeaWorld or Disneyland or Great America or something, so I could take one of the kids there. And it turned out that for what they'd pay me to speak, we could pretty much break even by paying for the child's airfare, and then the food. They paid me, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think
some
it was
sort of stipend.
Yeah, but it was per meal. I think it was like
and so you just
$5
made it work.
for breakfast, $10 for lunch, and $20 for dinner. So that was my food allowance.
Yeah.
But I could feed the kid along with that.
Yeah.
So by what they paid me to do the speaking thing, that covered, and sometimes at the hotel, the kid was free. And
right, because you just share the same room.
Yeah, and so I think each of you kids have a memory of at least one trip.
Yeah.
And the one that scared me the most was little Julie, just a blonde-headed girl. We got to the hotel and we were up on the second floor, and I was getting the stuff in, and I looked and Julie was gone.
Oh, jeez.
And I looked all over, and she had just skipped off to go. And I thought somebody had abducted a little cute blonde-haired girl, and I'd never see her again. Scared me to death. I just have such a emotional, traumatic memory from that. And she, no big deal, you know. She just.
Hey, Dad's here.
Dad's here?
Go to the garage and get Dad.
How do you know that?
I saw him drive up.
Oh, okay. All right.
What was your other one that you always remember?
With you?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know where I was.
We went
You
to
know?
Universal.
It seems like we were in California, and
'Cause
so
we had gone
you
to
came
Universal.
with me so we could go to that amusement park.
Yeah.
And
We got a red Corvette.
oh, we did.
Yeah.
Was it
And
a
we took all
convertible?
these great pictures, and on the way home, I clicked the camera and accidentally opened. It was a
Oh,
disposal, and I clicked it, and they were all gone. So we don't actually have any pictures, but I remember the red convertible because you went up to the counter and you said, "Yeah, I'm here with my daughter," and one of the guys knew you, and he went, "Look, this is the car we are supposed to have for you, but I have this other one. I won't charge you. Do you want the red convertible?" And you went, "We'll take the red convertible."
okay. Yeah. So anyway, the talk was usually an hour and a half with a little break in the middle, and so I brought you. I didn't have anybody anywhere to leave you. I didn't want to leave you in the motel room, so I brought you to the lecture, and we'd been at the amusement park all day long, and you just sat down on the front seat and fell asleep. And I'm in the middle of my thing, and all of a sudden I look, and you had got up, walked up on the stand, walked over to me right in the middle of my lecture, and I said, "I think you're really tired and you're sleepwalking, and so go." And you just walked on and went down and went back to sleep on the front row on the other side. And I asked you if you remembered it later. You didn't remember anything, but everybody saw you come up, sleepwalk, and have your dad send you back to the.
I just
to the
remember.
pew.
Do you want to go out? I just remember everyone asked me how Universal was after that. And he said,
Yeah.
"I'm sorry, she's tired. We had a long day at Universal Studios," and went on. But everyone asked me how Universal was after that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Do you remember? I'm sure it's hard to remember which one went
I think
where,
it was
but
you at Universal.
I was at Universal.
Well, bought you a little purse or a little something to put seashells and stuff in, and it got lost.
Probably because I
And
also broke the camera.
I didn't want, and you were young enough, I thought, I can do a switcheroo and you won't even know. So I bought you another one, and so you didn't know that,
That makes sense.
that you had just walked off and left it and lost it.
That sounds about right. That was your first time ever having a 4D movie where they like shoot water at you when they spit, and then the things come under your feet.
Oh, in Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You could hear the rats, and then
Yeah.
they had something.
Like air or something that went
blew-
down. Yeah.
I think they had things hanging down in the air, blew in it, and
Yeah.
made it feel like you had rats running under
Yeah.
your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other, if there's like maybe one more that you remember, like one other trip? I know that there were lots of them, so I'm sure they meshed together a bit, but one other trip with the kids.
Well, I do remember going to Fisherman's Wharf. That was with the whole family. See, there were during the year trips where I'd take one child, and then there were the summer marathon speaking things where you'd go speak a place you'd speak for 3 days. You do about 3 or 4 hours each day.
Jeez.
And
So like Education Week, but somewhere
yeah,
else.
they were called Education Days. And it was patterned after Education Week at BYU.
Gotcha.
So you'd go, and we usually stayed in a Motel 6, and there was usually a Denny's nearby, and that's how we ate once a day at Denny's, and the other time we had a cooler, and we just ate sandwiches for lunch and cereal and milk for breakfast. And then I'd go do the speaking thing, and I don't think the kids realized that was a little taxing for me. See, I'd either speak afternoons or I'd speak evenings. And then whichever I wasn't doing, that's when we were at the amusement park.
That's exhausting.
So I'd spend all day at the amusement park and then go speak in the evening, or I'd speak in the afternoon and then go to the amusement park after. That was easier to do. So,
Yeah.
but I just felt like it was a blessing that the church provided us that, and that the family got to be the beneficiary.
That's really
And,
awesome.
So, because if we drove, mileage is the same whether it's one person or
Yeah, that's true.
5, and also for usually we broke even for what they paid me. If we took the whole family, that helped pay for meals and motel and all of that, and so we'd come out about even.
That's so awesome. And then I'm sure Mom was good about getting sandwiches and making that inexpensive so it didn't overlap too much and use your per
Well, I
diem.
would guess if you talk to the kids, most of them, well, I don't know. I would think most of them have more detailed memories of things than I do, because for me,
You went to so many.
we did a bunch, and then they kind of blended together.
Yeah.
So,
I just think it's awesome that you guys did that.
but we tried to get something, either an amusement park or a beach or a something
Yeah.
in there.
I
So,
love that. All right. Well, let's wrap up for today then.
okay.